How do you know when things are bad? Well, it's when ethnic minority Deliveroo riders are exasperated at the levels of immigration into this country. And that's the story that I want to share with you today, courtesy of this guy, Gig Hustle on YouTube. Now, he is a second generation immigrant, I'm guessing of Indian origin. So I think he was born here in the UK to Indian parents. And he does gig economy jobs, which is delivering food on Uber Eats and Deliveroo and Just Eat. And he wears a GoPro on his head, goes around, shows you. He's made a YouTube channel doing this, and he's just dropped this video. The grim reality of delivering food in the UK, broken Britain. So we're going to join Jay as he does his Deliveroo round in Nottingham.
So this is not a good start. You can see all of these Deliveroo guys just over here waiting around for orders. That means it is not busy. You've got a guy here on the left, and then we've got another guy just over here, which basically means that there is no orders at the moment.
Now he's just come back after doing a travel channel. He has this other travel channel here called JS Chaya, which I've watched some of, but they do too much eating for my taste, to be honest. However, he's just come back off this holiday away from work in the gig economy, and he's shocked at the state of his local town and the deterioration and the lack of work and the influx of new migrants who are now basically taking over all the jobs.
Things are getting worse. Like, it's not just deliveries, like that's one part of it, and that's to do with the influx of immigrants that have come into the country, which I'm going to talk about later, because I'm looking for orders. There's no orders right now.
Okay, so he goes around, and throughout his day he gets more and more exasperated at the deterioration of the local area, the homeless crisis, how so many people are out of work, and just the lack of money that he's able to make doing this job that he's done for the last few years. And then he wants to talk about what he says the real problem is.
Took half an hour to get in, no orders. That means we made diddly squat, which you could say is my fault because I shouldn't be going so far out, but when you're not getting orders, you kind of end up doing that. So this is the Rope Walk pub, and you can see it is all boarded up. This used to be a Chinese restaurant, and this is what it looks like, all boarded up. Maybe they will, someone will buy it and rejuvenate the city centre, but when I was here, say 10 years ago almost, I was at university, it was nothing like this. This was open, it wasn't ugly looking, to be quite real. So we're gonna go find somewhere quiet to talk about the real sensitive issue about this whole delivery gig economy. So I finally found a relatively quiet place to talk about this kind of potentially controversial.
He's really nervous about talking about this. It's taken him 33 minutes to get to this point, by the way, where he's tentatively tried to explain the deterioration of the local area, the homelessness crisis, drugs, all this kind of stuff that are all compiling to making everywhere a much less nice place to live. But now he gets down to the nitty-gritty
Topic that I've been leaving as a bit of a cliffhanger. Let's get this helmet off so you can actually see my face, and so I've got helmet hair, but it is what it is. So going back to this whole GB News report about there being 700,000, I think 700, 800,000 legal migrants that's reported, so it could be more, that came in within a 1 year period. Now this is actually where I think the gig economy started to change for the worse, because during the pandemic, we had
Let's take a quick look at that number, by the way. From GB News, here's the statistics that they put out. That net migration has gone up to 606,000 people in 2023. Absolutely shocking stuff.
but now we have 700 to 800,000, and this is the important thing. I think most of them are, from according to GB News, is that they're low skill, low pay migrants. And what that means is that the gig economy is one of the first kind of jobs they go for, because it is low skill. Like what I'm doing right now, it doesn't take, you know, a rocket scientist to do it. Anyone can do it. So now you've got you're flooded with lots, and you can see
A flood. Now we are flooded with. Notice the words that you
here, because it's changed, because during the pandemic, it was a lot of people who've been living in the UK for a long time, whether they're British. There was British people doing it, but you don't really see that very much now. So when I rock up and I start speaking to them, they get shocked, because they're expecting, you know, someone who maybe doesn't have the level of English that I do, because they're not from here. And
I just pause here for the head scratch moment, by the way. It's a wonderful moment where, like, the cogs are just turning in the head here, and the sawdust is heating up. And look, he's had this moment where he's distinguishing himself from the new immigrants that are coming in and saying, I'm different from these guys. I can't explain it to you, but I'm separate from them. This is another wave, another level beyond me. Okay, don't count me in with this lot.
so you've got people from like the UK, you've got people from, you know, Europe, Poland, Hungary, and people from like Indian and Pakistan origins, but living in the UK, but we're doing this work. But now you have it's not like that. It is pretty much just mostly migrants, immigrants, legal and legal. And it's not really so much big deal about the legal immigrants, because that's a smaller number. Like I think like 50 to 100,000 reported in 1 year coming through. It's actually the legal ones. And a lot of them are
Exactly. It's the legal migration that this guy's a problem with. Not the illegals. The actual illegals who are here, who are allowed to be here.
international students. You'll see a lot of Indians, see a lot of people from Nigeria coming through. And so what that does is it creates a situation where the gig companies can actually lower their earnings, because they're willing to actually do the work for pretty much a low pay. And that's the reality of it. And the companies won't tell you this, but they're not profitable companies. I think
So he's exasperated, and what he's saying is these migrants are taking my jobs. They're not only taking your jobs, they're taking my jobs now too.
this video really paints a kind of strange and maybe even like kind of depressing picture of what's happening in the UK, because this is just about the gig economy, deliveries within the UK, but there's a wider issue here, which you can see. It looks like we've got a homelessness crisis. We've got our cities and towns just boarded up and looking derelict, and people, the kind of income equality, people not living high standards of living, which you should be expecting with being in the UK and being in England. All right, so let me know if you agree with me. Let me know, maybe I'm getting it wrong.
No, dude, you're not getting it wrong, and I'm glad that you're speaking out about it. I want to salute this guy for coming out and being brave enough to say what the problem is. And he's right about it. He's right about it because I have seen exactly the same situation playing out in my local town. All of a sudden, since the pandemic, my local town is rapidly becoming dominated by ethnically foreign people who do not speak English. Okay, it's very different to the type of migration that we had seen before in limited numbers, and to some extent, or to the largest extent, really, in places like where I live, were integrating into the local communities. What we see now is a completely different phenomenon, and I think, as he said, it's a flood, as he described it. That's my experience too, that since the pandemic, there really has been a flood of people who are just completely unintegrated, and you see it everywhere. And I'm really glad that somebody like this is speaking out about it. All right, I'll leave a link to this video in the description. Thanks for watching, everyone. Appreciate you.